record indicates that they're bringing something different to the table. Our next guest is the epitome of that musical description. She takes a modern approach to R&B, like that of bands like The Internet or Janelle Monáe, and summons the musical spirits of yesterday artists like Sade, Erykah Badu, the SOS Band, and even Prince. Her debut album was called Sounds of a Seed, and it's somewhat of an ode to her parents and the music that they introduced to her as a child that has now become the canvas she paints her soulful and funky work on. Our guest is singer-songwriter and guitarist, Aaliyah Guerra. Welcome to Our Montreal.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Now, your new album, Sounds of a Seed, has beautiful musical textures that come from so many different artistic cities. Tell us about your inspiration behind that album.
Well, I really have always loved jazz, and I think a lot of the music that my parents have offered to me, so like George Benson, a lot of Quincy Jones, Anita Baker, things like that. It's sort of already been birthed from jazz. So.
And you're how old?
I'm 22.
Look at that.
So I think just actually listening to older music kind of helped me to tap into that older sense in my brain that kind of remembers and kind of taps into the the actual music that's in our genetics. And I think that's how I might have been able to tap into it, because honestly I don't know. It just happens.
When you summon music from that era and you incorporate it into your music, it doesn't sound like you're doing something retro. You make it sound new again.
Yeah, I just think it's part of who I am. So to me, it's not old. It's just that's all I know.
Did you write all those songs in your album?
Yes, I did.
Now, was your goal with your album, Sounds of a Seed, to get many different generations listening to it as opposed to just your age group? Because this is something your parents can get into, right? This is something that other generations can listen to as well.
So when I was making my music, I made it in a sense of, okay, this is what I know, this is what I like, which is what other people listen to. But in looking at my analytics now, I'm actually seeing I'm tapping into different age groups that I didn't even think would relate to music that I like. So
you want to talk about people listen? From the album Sounds of a Seed, we're giving people a little sample of that funky thing you do. This is Wonderwall. You compose primarily on guitar? Because you play keyboards on guitar as well.
Yeah. It's interesting because sometimes I might have an idea that's birthed on the piano, but the guitar is really the instrument that I'm most connected with. So if I do want to sort of adventure and see what else I can do, sometimes the guitar is where I really explode with the song. Like Wonder Woman actually started on the piano, and then the guitar kind of took over. So, and people wouldn't know that because you listen to the instrumentation. So.
Now you say at a certain point, when your parents saw your dedication to this and your desire to get your music out and get into the industry, they actually let you take some time off because they saw that how much you were dedicated to it.
Yeah. I really thank my parents for that. And I know a lot of people in the music industry, because of how crazy it is, sometimes they don't have that support, which is really necessary. But me just taking a day to sit with my mom and show her the music that I had, kind of just kept it to myself. Once she listened to it, she's like, okay, you know what? Your dad and I are going to have a chat, and we'll let you have a semester off. But they only give me one semester. It was that or nothing.
They had to get it all in one semester.
Exactly.
Now, MTL, a hotbed for music. Montreal is very hot when it comes to music. But how is it for a city, for a black woman trying to make it in the industry and doing R&B?
Well, I feel like there's just a lot of music nowadays. So whether I was a black woman or any other, type of person, I think it's just, you're always going to have to try to compete with other people. But in that, I just try to get out there and try to get publicity. But again, staying true to who I am has just seemed to attract a lot of authentic people, and I'm good at that.
Tell us about your live show.
Yeah, my live shows are a lot of fun. I love getting to meet the fans. They're funny. My last show was actually probably one of the most lively shows. I had some banter with one of the audience members. They were drinks, so maybe that could have had an effect. But she got the crowd laughing. We were chatting, and it's nice because I have, a mix of crowds. I have the old school crowd that does the physical tickets, the cash, only physical CDs. And then I got my new school crowd that does the digital stuff. And I actually have some younger kids, like around my age, that are there too. But a lot of adults that do the 9 to 5, so they're always looking forward to the night off.
Do your songs from Sounds of a Seed take on a new life when you're performing them in concert?
Absolutely. And that's actually one of the things I love most about performing is just hearing the songs come to life. And then getting to see the live reaction from the listeners. It's just me and my guitar. And for me, it's always been me singing and my guitar accompanying that. And then it's just me, myself, and the audience. But when I have the band, There's more energy. I have, maybe 4 other people to feed off of, and they all bring this different taste to the stage. And I think the audience feels that too, and they like our energy, so it's way more intense. And it's good for certain types of songs and certain types of venues, but I like that I can switch between both.
Is there lots of spontaneity? Do you do things or make shout-outs to the band to change things like in mid-show?
Oh, yeah. That's actually one of my favorite things is, like, with the band is, like, you can actually start improvising, and it's a new version of the song for the band and the audience, so it's kind of cool to have everyone on their toes.
Do they dig it or do they hate you when you do that?
They dig it because they're professional musicians, so they're not like, they like the surprises. I think they enjoy it.
Thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you for having me.
You can catch Aaliyah Guerra's show June 9th at the St. Laurent Recreation Center. Coming up, we look back at John Lennon and